Hey guys, what is up? Cody Carter coming at you once again. Today we're going to talk about shelter, a little survival series. First thing that you think of when you hear the word shelter is probably your house or a tent or something of that nature, something that most people deem an acceptable shelter. Today we're going to discuss pretty much a lot of different options. Now for me, as far as an emergency bug out situation where I couldn't take my car, I have my bag, and on the bottom of my bag, I'll show you. I actually have a tent. Now my tent is pretty small. It is just a single person tent. However, if you really needed to, you could fit 2 people in there. 3's a crowd. It's not a bad little tent. It's pretty cheap. Set it up really quickly, take it down really quickly. It's really nice. It's not as elaborate as, say a $200, 5-person tent. It's meant to be quick. That's the whole reason it's in the bug out bag. I also, in my bug out bag, and I'm not about to take them out because they're incredibly hard to take out and incredibly hard to get in to where I put them. I have 2 I think they're 8-foot by 8-foot tarps that I keep in. Let me see if I can. No. They're in a little back pouch, so all the stuff is pushing up against it. I mean, I could take them out in a bug out situation and not pull anything out, but putting them back in is just a pain in the butt. There are 2 really big tarps that I can use any of the paracord I have or any of the polycord that I have and make a makeshift shelter. Put one on the ground, put one as a shelter. That's in an emergency situation. That's if my tent failed or fell off or broke or anything like that. So a real shelter would be something like I said, your house or my tent. But that can't really be your only option. If you're in a situation where you're stranded and you can't really find a level ground or you have no place to put your tent, something like a tarp, it gives you nice coverage. Put it on the ground, put it over top and kind of spike it up. It's a lot better than just sleeping under the stars. We also have makeshift shelters, which would be, I believe, no, I put the tarps under the scrap. I don't know why. Let me erase that. There we go. So a makeshift shelter would be, like I said, the tarps, any kind of impromptu situation where you desperately needed. Say you're stuck in the middle of the woods and you need shelter. It's starting to snow, starting to pour down rain, and it's freezing cold. A makeshift shelter would be like if you cut down a tree and it broke off like this, and you could kind of sleep underneath it. It would protect you, not in the best way, but definitely in an emergency would be better than nothing. Another example would be any kind of lean-to where if you had a nice big branch and you if you lay some branches across it, sleep underneath it, it'd protect you. Wouldn't be the best thing in the world, but it would get the job done. Any kind of thing you can construct out of impromptu materials on hand in the wilderness would fall under this category right here. Now, there's also this little section down here, and you're probably thinking to yourself, who the hell's going to make a tent out of a lawn bag? I've been recently watching a lot of these videos, and they're kind of old, but they are $10 dollar store challenge, and the whole thing is that you have $10 pre-tax to go to the dollar store and buy items to survive through the night, and the requirements were 2 meals, shelter, cutting tool, things like that. But the shelter is the thing that really trips a lot of people up. A lot of people go for something like a tablecloth, but a tablecloth from the dollar store rips really easily. I would use it in a last resort scenario if I had literally nothing else. I've seen things like shower curtains, which are thicker and hardier than a tablecloth, but still not in the best of situations. And then lawn bags where they would cut open one side and spread it like that. The whole point of this category, the whole scrap shelter category, is to just remind you that don't ever think that you can't make a shelter with what you have. You know, anything that you have on your person or anything that you can find can pretty much be made into a shelter one way or another. Obviously, if you have a bunch of little pieces of wood, you can't turn that into a shelter. Or if you have, you know, some napkins or something, that's not going to be a shelter. But a lot of different things in the wilderness and in your own home, you can makeshift and rig into a shelter. So it's important to remember that the survival rule of 3 specifically says that it's 3 minutes without air and 3 hours without shelter in a harsh situation. So if it's a blizzard or if it's pouring down rain and it's 30 degrees, 35 degrees or something like that, you're going to need a shelter. You're not going to be able to just keep trucking forever. You're just going to make yourself sick and probably die. So don't ever forget that you can make a shelter out of almost anything. I just kind of wanted to touch on this topic because it was the next on the list. We're almost done. We only have, I think, 3 more. And I just want to thank you guys again for all the love on that bug out bag video. I think it's about 1,700 at the time I'm recording, so 1,750, something like that. So I'm pretty excited. That's now my most viewed video, so I'm pretty excited about it. Thanks for all the love, guys. And remember, enjoy life. Live it.